I was a kid that spun the globe and would put my finger on it as it was spinning and read about the place. I learned that traveling alone has a lot of pluses. I was living in a treehouse during COVID for 2 years. I'm living in a 4-star hotel for a month, and my price was under $300, taxes and everything. Like when I came back last year from the whole Southeast Asia and Australia tour, after about 2.5 months, I was like, I don't even know why I'm coming home.
Today we have a guest on the channel who's a slow traveler. I'm also a slow traveler. A slow traveler is somebody who moves through the world one destination at a time without buying round-trip tickets. Just imagine you keep moving forward. I started that, I left the US in 2007, been to 67 countries so far, and it's not for everyone. Normally we share with people the best places to retire in the world, stationary, but we have a guest today who's a slow traveler like me. Welcome to our interview with Mike.
This is Dan from Vagabond Awake, and today we were wandering around and we ran into this gentleman here, Mike. And Mike is a slow traveler, and a slow traveler is a little bit unique animal from somebody who retires in one place overseas. Mike's like us. He likes to move around, and so we feel honored to have him here. Mike?
I'm honored to be here. I really am.
Put her there. so happy to have you on the channel, Mike. Yeah. You're a different breed than most people.
Well, yeah, I guess you helped create this. I mean, I heard the first time I heard slow travel was from your channel.
Right.
And I thought that kind of describes what I like doing now, and you kind of made it happen in a bigger way. You know, I was like, this is what makes me the happiest, is to go someplace for at least a few weeks and settle down, get a routine going, and get to kind of feel what it's like to live there, you know.
Right,
and I've been here in Da Nang. We're in Da Nang, Vietnam.
Okay.
For 3 weeks.
Okay.
And I've got at least 3. I've got a 90-day visa.
Right.
So I'm definitely going to be here another 3 weeks, maybe the whole visa, but I think I'm going to move on after 6 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good question that I'm going to come to a little later about, like, how long do you stay in each place. So,
yeah.
But so when and how did the travel fantasies start to come alive in you? Like what age, or what do you remember?
Wow, I should make this short. I've been told not to overshare. My friends told me don't overshare.
Okay.
But as a kid, I was a kid that spun the globe and would put my finger on it as it was spinning and read about the place. So
right.
I've been writing poetry and dreaming and fantasizing about travel since I was a little kid in my grandpa's doctor's office. So at any rate, I worked for the airlines for a little while, and I got to free travel, and I had to be back to come back to work, but I learned to travel alone because most of my friends didn't have free benefits. So I learned that traveling alone has a lot of pluses. You know, you meet people, a lot more people for sure. I think. Yeah, you can say that. But it's comfortable for me. Yeah.
And so let's follow that for a minute, if
Yeah.
we could. What are some of the benefits of traveling solo? I think that is a very important topic.
Well, you know, a lot of times when you're meeting all kinds of different people, what you do when you're alone, because people see you're not talking, they'll come up and talk to you a lot of times, and they'll give you ideas about where they've been, and you know, you've never heard of them a lot of times. Even if you watch YouTube like me, I've heard of places that I want to go to while I've been here in Vietnam, and you can just start making plans to go. Now, if you're with somebody, that's more of a negotiation, right? You can't just, you know, do you want to go here? And sometimes the answer is no, I don't, and you don't ever see that place, right? So there is a benefit. That's one of them. You know, if you see a cafe that smells good to you, you can go right in and eat there. You know, I mean, if that smells, if that's what you want to eat, it's not. So it's a little selfish, but you know, there's a downside and an upside. But it is appealing if if you're comfortable being by yourself, alone sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think hidden in that message is that no matter where you are in your life, whether you're with someone or you're not, there's a positive side of both, right? So you get that freedom of where I go, how long I stay, where do I go next.
Right.
Everything is freedom when you're alone,
Right.
and then
Yeah.
it's a negotiation.
Right.
But you have the companionship when you're.
Yeah, it seems like more of an adventure because things are going to change from what you have planned. I'm not sure exactly what the next week's going to bring here in Da Nang. I really don't know. I know what tomorrow I'm planning on doing, but
Yeah.
depending,
Yeah,
could change.
that's a real adventure. So as a slow traveler, one of the early markers that feels different is when you buy your first one-way ticket to go, because you don't know when you're going to come back or where you go next. Have you bought your first one-way ticket yet? And if so, what did it feel like being overseas somewhere and you didn't know when you'd be returning home?
Yeah, last year I booked a one-way ticket to Australia.
Uh-huh.
And that felt great. People thought I was a bit crazy, but it's not the first time I've been slow traveling, but it was the first time I just said, I'm not sure when I'm coming back, if I'm coming back. I was living in a treehouse during COVID for 2 years, and a real treehouse, not a fancy one,
Right.
And I just thought, I kind of left it open with my friends, and I just said, they were like, "You don't have a return ticket?" They looked at me kind of crazy.
Yeah,
but
it's great when you find out you're crazy, isn't it?
Yeah,
I mean,
it is. Yeah.
So
Well,
the treehouse, I can't let that one slip by. Tell us,
Okay.
This is the treehouse. How did that happen? Was it in someone's backyard, or how does?
So it was halfway up Haleakala Mountain in Maui. I got transferred out there years ago. Lived a long time in Maui. I was back in the winter in Missouri, I think, of 2020, and my friend said one of his best friends had a treehouse that was empty,
Okay,
and if I helped with the yard work, I could live there.
that's great.
It was in a lychee tree, surrounded by fruit trees. It was just gorgeous, halfway up 5,000 feet, so the weathers were very incredible.
Right.
It was just like you're living in a postcard,
Yeah.
But it had a real ladder you climb up, it was no joke, real treehouse, small, not much bigger than your living room here.
Right.
But learned to love it.
Wow.
Hated when I left it, but I had to go. I mean, I wanted to go traveling.
Wow, that's like a childhood fantasy that comes to life or something.
It is. I was literally six. It was a childhood fantasy.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to live in a treehouse. So.
Wow. So do you think you'll eventually someday want to have a home base again, or are you comfortable slowly moving forward through the world, just leaving that whole question open, or where are you on that issue?
I can't. There's no way I'm going to stop traveling, but you are. I do look at what you're doing, and I think, wow, that is. Could I do that? I've thought that many times. Could I do that full time? And the answer is maybe. I've been slowly going longer and longer periods of time.
Right.
And I'm down to just almost no possessions. I have a condo in the States, so right. I mean, it's nothing needs to be taken care of really. So yeah, it's easily possible. I mean, there's nothing that, like when I came back last year from the whole Southeast Asia and Australia tour, after about 2.5 months, I was like, I don't even know why I'm coming home. I bought the ticket last minute. I told somebody I would come back, and a friend, and I did. And I was on the flight thinking, why?
Oh my gosh, it's only going to get worse, trust me. It's only going to get worse. Why am I going home?
I was going back to Maui, so it's not a hard place to go back to. But.
Yeah, that's amazing. Slow travelers, we're all different. We all have a different comfort zone. But what would you say on average is, like, when you go to a place, how often do you like to stay in each place before you move to the next? And when you're thinking about where am I going to move next, how does that happen? And do you start planning it right away, or you wait till you're ready for something new? How does that happen in your mind?
Usually I book someplace for a month. I didn't this time, but I usually use Airbnb. This time because there was a hotel that was appealing to me, I just booked a hotel for a month, and then I see how it is, and if I want to stay longer, I'll do it,
Right.
But so far, there is not one good reason to leave Da Nang. I'm going to have to find one.
Okay.
So, make one up.
So you're not fantasizing about leaving yet. You're thinking, I'll just stick around a little longer.
This is a really, really good, and thanks to you guys first mentioning it, I went and looked at other videos on Da Nang, and it was like, wow, Vietnam is just fabulous.
Yeah.
Right. Just it is. It checks all the boxes really high right here in Da Nang. I know that.
Yeah, we love it here.
Yeah.
I used to have it ranked higher, but then they had trouble with the visa for a while. You'd have to do 30-day visa runs,
Right.
And I dropped it down for a while. But now with the 90-day, I'm
Yeah.
thinking about raising it back up in terms of my top 15. But
Yeah.
you mentioned something that I think some people will go, what? He's in a hotel for a month? Tell them what you're getting and what you're paying.
Okay, yeah. So I'm living in a 4-star hotel for a month, and my price was under $300, taxes and everything, no extra bills. I mean, I paid it, and I didn't have to even pay it till I got to the hotel. I booked it 3 weeks in advance, and
And it's 4-star hotel.
It's a 4-star
So
hotel.
$10 a night.
A little less.
A little less, yeah.
Yeah.
I just don't want to be, when you think
Less-
hotel for a month, people are thinking, does that $2,000? But you're talking $300.
But it sounds like a lot when they ring your visa for $6 million something.
Oh.
Dog. Like $6 million. Wow, I'm a millionaire.
Yeah.
But no, that's what it translates to. If you want another equivalent that is really, I had to have a root canal about a week into here, and a root canal and a crown.
Right?
And because my crown fell out and I was in pain, and I was so emergency. As soon as it fell out, I was in a dentist chair in less than an hour, and they were telling me, we don't think you need a root canal and all this, and then they dug in. Anyway, long story short, the price for a root canal and a crown in the States, because I just had a crown. The crown just alone is like $1,700-$1,800.
That's right.
Common price,
Yeah.
and could be $2,000. But this procedure that she did would be about $4,000,
Including the root canal at $4,000
including root
in the
canal
U.S.
and the crown.
Yeah.
So it cost right at $300, a little less I think than about what my hotel costs for the whole thing,
Yeah, that's crazy.
and the cleaning,
That-
and the cleaning.
So those things is normally will cost about $4,000 in US.
Yeah, a root canal and a crown. I mean, it depends if you're in a big city or small city, but
Right.
between like 3,000 and 5,000.
Yeah, you could easily pay more, a little less.
Yeah.
Yeah, possibly.
And how much you get in Spain now?
He paid
Less than $300.
less than
Like my hotel.
$300. Yeah.
It's like,
So it's 90% off.
yeah.
And what about, tell us about, was the office clean, the chair clean? Did it feel like you were in a legit
It
dentist
is. I
office?
actually have marble floors. I've been, it's kind of going from a treehouse to marble floors. I noticed it. It's real marble. Because they have, one of the famous places around here is the Marble Mountain, so a lot of stuff is marble.
Oh, yeah.
But, it's pretty, it's definitely not 5, it's definitely not 3, it's a solid 4.
Oh, I'm at the dentist office.
Oh, the dentist office, it was the best dentist I've ever been to.
Yeah.
Like, they were the most compassionate. They got my cell phone number, called me twice to see if I was okay.
Right.
That just doesn't happen. I know you're not from the United States, but that does not. You can't even get the secretary's number
No.
privately. They're not going to call you, and they're going to want their money.
Yeah, of course,
It's
Yeah, so we're
quite different.
So the intention here is to blow people's minds, and if that doesn't blow their mind, I don't know what will.
Well, my dad was a dentist, and that would include him. When I say she was the best dentist, I've known a lot of dentists. He had a lot of dentist friends. Like, I've got a lot of crowns. I've seen a lot of dentists. She was the best dentist, bar none.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
And she spoke English.
So,
Yeah.
so where are we today, and how?
Good place to have dental problems, I can guarantee you.
So is there anything about Vietnam other than what we've already talked about that really surprises you? I mean, growing up in the U.S., you know, we had ideas of what Vietnam was. I mean, is there anything about Vietnam that resembles what we learned about it as children? I mean, what are your thoughts about that?
Oh, wow, that's a big question. I could take way too much time answering it, but Vietnam is spectacular, beautiful. It reminds me of Hawaii in a way. Just does. It's really green here, really beautiful, spectacular scenery, beautiful beaches here in Da Nang and other places. But you know, it's that I did go visit the Vietnam War Museum here.
Right. The one in Saigon or
here?
Okay.
And because the first time I ever heard the word Da Nang was in Vietnam War movies. Anyway,
Yeah,
I visited
of course.
it, and it was quite worth visiting. I'm not a veteran. I appreciate those who did. But me and Dan we were about the same age.
We're just a little too young. We're a little too young to have been drafted.
We were thinking, are we going to be in this? So,
Yeah.
Other than that, Vietnam is something definitely worth experiencing. You can do so much in just Da Nang. Like, if you want to parasail or hang glide, whatever it is. I mean, everything's available here. You know, that you can get in.
We've been
Maui.
We've been top to bottom from Hanoi all the way down to Phu Quoc, which is an island in the far south.
Yeah.
Almost to Cambodia, and we just really love it. It's just a beautiful place. Which, I mean, you're a slow traveler, so eventually you move on. But in terms of safety, how does this feel compared to other countries?
That's a good question. This is one of the safest places. Just the feeling. You never know. You can't pretend to know exactly how safe you are, but I feel this is one of the safest feelings I've felt.
Right.
I really I've walked around. The walking here is spectacular. Almost better than, I know why Anthony Bourdain, this was his favorite country.
Yeah.
Other than the food is great, but the walking here is fabulous.
Yeah.
I met Chang walking the other day. That's when we ran into, I mean, I just like to go around walking.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's a very, very charming neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Very.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
City, you can get dentist, grocery, whatsoever in by walking.
And super friendly people.
So how, as a slow traveler, how do you decide where you're going to go next? Like what brings on that thought in your head?
Yeah, I do watch a lot of YouTube and get different. There's other people. I'd have to say I've watched you about the longest. You kind of drew me into YouTube before you even met her. You know, I was like, this guy's really getting into the particulars. I like all the details, and I was like, wow, this is good. I can do this. I need to. And then pretty soon it was, I need to do this.
Yeah.
I want to. I need to. And as far as going somewhere else, if it looks like, you know, it's checking all the boxes pretty high, and there's something like Angkor Wat is really close to here in Cambodia, and I want to probably try to go over there and see it in Cambodia before I head on. I'm not sure how long I'll stay there,
right?
But I definitely want to. It's one of them from my childhood. I've wanted to see it. One of those places.
You got to go see that when you're this close.
Yeah.
So many slow travelers that I meet along the way say one of the reasons they do it, or they keep doing it once they find out about it, is because it's much cheaper than they thought it would be. You know, we grew up watching movies or whatever, and it's all these millionaires living in penthouses that are traveling around the world. And someone like me, slow traveling, we're not spending anywhere near that kind of money. And so people are able to save money by slow traveling.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? And if so, like, why is it that slow traveling like we do is maybe cheaper than people realize?
Well, one thing people might not realize is like, just say an Airbnb. Now, this time I didn't use it, but an Airbnb will discount heavily usually if you book a month. If you book a solid month, you may get it for half the price easily.
Right.
You know? Yeah. So it's no longer $20, $30 a night. It's 15 or 20, you know, whatever you were going to pay, it's usually half. And they give you, you know, so that's an easy way to save money. I think you get into a routine, so you're not in the mindset of I've got to travel here tomorrow, the next day I've got to travel here, and I've got to spend all this money to make it happen, and book whatever accommodation whatever they charge me when I get there, and that kind of thing. You have some plan going into it, and relaxing. I'm not spending as much money. Like I say, like one of my favorite activities here is just walking. It's absolutely incredible, and it's free. But this place is so affordable that literally you can say I've been getting full body massages every other day, because they're just I've had a lot of injuries, and it feels great to be able to do that. And you can, because stuff is affordable, spend too much more than your plan. But the idea that Dan and Chang put out is don't go to the most expensive restaurants. Try the street food. The street food's awesome here and so many other places. You've been right about every place that I've gone to. The street food was good, really good. And you meet lots of interesting people. You get the flavors, the stuff you never would have tried. They'll be like, oh, try this. Just give it to you and free, just try it, That's all. And shopping at the market, the corner markets, instead of the Western groceries type stores and stuff, you can get fresher stuff that tastes better. But I still like some things, and that's here too. You can get that right around here, where we are in Da Nang. But
Right.
yeah, you just have it is that cheap. It really is. Even though I like to do stuff spur of the moment, I'm the stuff that's cheap, like the Buddha Pagoda, the Lady Buddha Pagoda here. Fabulous park if you've never been there. Have you guys been there?
Not yet. We haven't. It's on
It looks
Yes.
like it might be a tourist trap. It's so not. It's a temple, and it's one of the most fabulous parks I've ever been to anywhere in the world. Just crazy good and free.
So, Mike, thanks for coming on and sharing your slow travel experience with us. We appreciate it.
I owe you. It was fun.
Well, it's great meeting you, and thanks for everything. We really
Sure.
appreciate it. Yeah.
All right.
Could you please help me with something? You've probably watched our guest star interviews on our guest star playlist. I interview people that have retired overseas. They share valuable information such as cost of living, safety concerns, finding love overseas, healthcare experiences, and money problems. If you'd like to share something that you have learned living overseas, please come to vagabondbuddha.com, click the More tab, click the Contact Me tab, and tell me about what you would like to share with my channel. Click the link in the notes below this video to get the resources discussed in this video, along with my free ebook, How I Fired My Boss and Traveled the World for 17 Years, and How I Pay for a Life of Full-Time Travel.